Braving the darkness of Luna's gym allowed us to face and defeat her, obtaining the 9th badge. Luna reminded us that Kane was going to Agate City's checkpoint north of Van Hanen Castle. Obviously, considering what Saphira told us a few episodes ago, we will have to join him to continue the game. First, we have a few things to do, most notably returning to 7th Street. Do you remember the oddish weed we obtained in the middle of the Adventurine Woods? There's someone here that is looking for it. It's this lady, who lives in this house in Lapis Ward. She says her husband is sick, and nothing she has tried has helped him. She's searched high and low, very low, but no one has what she wants. That's when she sees we have it, oddish weed. We hand it over to her relief, and she rewards us with another Pokemon egg. That's the only real quest left before moving on with the story. But I need to make something clear now. If you go to the Agate checkpoint, Kane explains how there's no way to know what we're going to find beyond the gates, and that we may not be able to return for a long time. When you go through this checkpoint, every place you have been in this game so far will become inaccessible for several episodes. This notably includes the department store in Obsidia, but even more detrimentally, the daycare. In my opinion, this is the only major flaw of Pokemon Reborn. Everything else mostly has a parallel function in the upcoming area of the game, but nothing that allows you to breed Pokemon. It can actually cause a huge issue for one horrible, mammoth, insurmountable reason, but we'll leave that for later. Because of this, I heavily recommend doing something that should mostly mitigate this issue. Catch every single wild Pokemon that exists in the entire game you have access to before continuing. Yeah, really. This should also reasonably include every Pokemon you can catch, even if you have its pre-evolution already. My thought process is that if you have that many Pokemon, having multiple stages of some species lines in your possession, then your chances of reaching an impasse should fall to virtually zero. However, if you don't want to do that much catching, then know that there's another way in case you do hit the wall. It involves using more passwords to change the difficulty of the game. There are very many of them for this purpose, and I'm not going to name any of them particularly. Just know that you can look up passwords and activate them at the PC in case you hit the worst case scenario. As for me, I will catch all of the Pokemon I can. Obviously, I've beaten what's coming up, but the less I leave up to chance, the better for my sanity. I won't show you much of this catching process, except for one particular Pokemon. That's such a cool shiny! I love the custom shinies in this game. Props to the artists. Much better than green Beedrill. Then eventually, after all this walking around, we hatch the egg we got, which turns out to be another starter, Chespin. When you have attained all of the Pokemon you feel like you'll need, bought all necessary items, and did whatever else you can do while you still can, it's time to advance the plot. We tell Kane that we are prepared to investigate Agate City, and he unleashes his Nidoking on the gate barrier. Step through the door, and you'll officially arrive, in my mind, in the mid-game of Pokemon Reborn. Goodbye, Reborn City. Entering Agate City, we find that the streets are completely deserted, except for... Kane is concerned about the complete lack of people and sound, but when he crests the top of the nearby stairs, he suddenly discovers someone he knows. His own sister. When we follow him, we find indeed that Aya is here, along with Hardy, except they've both fallen down asleep in the middle of the road. Kane doesn't understand why they're like this, but then begins feeling like he's nodding off too. But if you thought you were going to sleep anytime soon... Ladies and gentlemen, may I regrettably introduce the human disaster, the bane of all brain cells, the defiler of the English language, Terra. It has been determined to be hazardous to your health to look directly at Terra's dialogue. I will paraphrase her speech at great risk to myself, as this now means I have to read what she says twice. So yeah, Terra basically violates every rule of English and basically speaks emoji, as well as make an attempt on our lives with that giant-ass mallet. But Terra goes from attacking us to warning us to get out of Agate City. She says that anyone staying long in Agate will fall asleep, like the 2 gym leaders passed out on the ground. She says she will bring them to safety. Terra, why are you taking out that hammer again? No, Terra, we can carry them! Before we let Terra get a grand slam with our bodies, we quickly get out of Agate City and show up in the interminable prison of Agate Circus. After a lot of dialogue that doesn't amount to anything important, Terra leaves us while saying that Aya and Hardy should have fallen into the circus somewhere, and Cha-Cha's real smooth out of here. So Kane is worried about Aya. Biggest surprise of my life, he asks us to help him look for her. Before we do that though, let me more formally introduce the circus. Get used to this music, which on its own is great music. Glitch X City's second remix of the Diamond and Pearl Game Corner. This is definitely my favorite of the 2 Gen 4 Game Corner remixes from Glitch X City featured in this game, the other in the Onyx Ward arcade. However, this music will have a tendency to grate after enough time, and if you were me, then there was more than enough time to get sick of this music. You see, Agate Circus is your new hub. It has all the things you'll need for this section of the game: shops, healing, PC, and various mechanics that I'll go into as we walk around the grounds. But understand something. This place, for me, became more than a hub I spent a lot of time in. It was, as I already said, a prison. You already know that you can't return to Reborn City for a few episodes. Now imagine if you were playing this game as the episodes were coming out. Imagine if you got here in 2014 and the episode that freed you from this place didn't come out until over 2 years later. I was trapped here. It has led me to having a very dim outlook of this place, and it won't be the last place that I feel like that towards. Now though, it's time to explore and take in the sights. First, as I already stated, going back into this guardhouse will have 2 guards prevent you from entering Agate City. Walking upstairs, you'll find 2 people. One of them will ask you if you wish to make a shell bell, provided you have the appropriate materials you could pick up from earlier in the game. The other person riddles you this: what is a Pokemon that shocks on touch, but electricity against it falls flat without relying on abilities? Want to pause and think about it? Here's a hint. What we want to show him is an electric ground type. Only one Pokemon species fits that type combination: Stunfisk. Give him a Stunfisk, and he will reward your ingenuity with a Vulpix. Now let's go back outside and have a stroll around the circus. From the south of the guard shack, you'll find the following: a cotton candy vendor, a general store. Oh wait, let me rephrase that. A place that sells Ultra Balls and Eviolite. Holy moly sweetness. Now I know that price of the Eviolite is quite high, but let me spoil something. This is the only place you can buy this, at least until pretty much the end of the game. I bought just one, in case there ever comes a time I need to use Chansey, my old staple Dusclops, or something else. Next down is a man tutoring Pokemon the pledge moves, just like the one in Lapis Ward. After that is this clown trainer battle. Who will beat the shit out of you? No, I'm dead serious, watch this. After dispatching the Claydol, he sends out an Ambipom, which is level 66 above my Heracross. After using Fake Out, it then uses Last Resort. Yeah, that 140 power move you can use if you use all of your other moves first. It kills my Heracross. Then my Pangoro. Then my Houndoom, who managed to go first to Destiny Bond the wretched beast. Yeah, tread very carefully around the park. There are more clowns ready to beat you up and take your money. Fortunately, you don't have to fight another before you reach the healing station nearby. Before we get there, let's continue the tour. Here's a Friendship Berry salesman to fix EVs if you want. To his right is one of the most important NPCs in the circus. You may not be able to breed Pokemon, but you do have a move relearner. He costs the same as the one in Onyx Ward, a heart scale. but it's very good he's here, just in case. Walk to the left to talk to this guy, and never mind, not yet. Next to him are two fairgoers, the young one of which wants a polka doll. Give me a few. Go up into this fenced-off rest area now. Whatever you do, don't trigger that clown's gaze there before healing. The people standing here say how they've been stuck here in the circus for a while now. Yeah, I know that feeling. After defeating the clown, you can access the vending machine and this candy vendor, who even sells XP candy. Don't buy that. Ever. Wait a little while. Now leave the rest area and head to the next tent, where a person will sell you ability capsules for shards, just like in 7th Street. Next to them is a clown selling air balloons. That could always be a good item to hold a few of, keep it in mind. Past some picnic tables, you'll find someone who offers a service you haven't yet seen in this game. A service you haven't seen in any retail Pokemon game. This lady will sell you, for shards, the ability to change a Pokemon's hidden power type. Very interesting. Even though hidden power is not something I've ever relied on, don't sleep on this. That kind of utility can make all of the difference. Beside her is a man who time has forgotten. The Pokemon Renamer. Yeah, just one little problem with that. Poor guy. I wonder if he's friends with the Renamer in Reborn City. Nearby, a queue exiting the circus is piled up. Basically there just to stop you from doing things out of order. Up from here is, nope, skipping him too. Oh, I forgot to mention, but turn your item finder on. The ground is caked in free stuff. Mostly shards you can spend at the stalls around here. But among them is something easy to take for granted. An Ultra Potion. I had one of these already, and I totally forgot to talk about why it's important. You know how Hyper Potions used to heal 200 HP, and now they only heal 120? In Reborn, Ultra Potions take their place. This will be pretty important now that we are in the mid-game, which to clarify, I consider as the time as soon as you are cut off from Reborn City. Heading up some more to these two stalls are two more move tutors. They offer yet another eclectic mix of moves, one of them being Stomping Tantrum just 2 gym battles late to ruin a game of chess. To the north is an amphitheater, where a lady who is obviously not a standard NPC stands. We'll get back to her in a bit. Gotta go from least to most important. Someone in the crowd though mentions that a boy just flew overhead. Crap, that would be Hardy. I guess he didn't land in the circus. Whomp another clown, and head to the right where another queue is forming into the the main tent. Let's cut across to the other side, and talk to these two guys standing under the shade out of the hail. The clown on the right actually speaks rather uncharacteristically seriously about the reason that shards are used as the currency of the circus. He divulges that the ringmaster's father mined up a hidden crystal valley in order to fund the creation of this circus. He then used the remaining crystal shards as the play money of the circus. It's too bad 7th Street started using those shards for drugs. The guy beside him has your back if you forgot to buy the power EV items from the department store. He's got them all here. You might wonder about that rainbow clown there. Let's hold off on him for a minute. That leaves one last lane right here. First, the man here will sell you ice cream. The salesman to his left sells Pokesnacks, in case you don't have 10 of them stocked up from item finding alone. Underneath the tent to the north, the lady will— Nope! Just wait. That leaves the clown next to her, but what he has to say is connected to this man, who is obviously a story character because you've never seen his sprite in-game before now. So let's go back and cover a couple other things, including the attractions we skipped. In the northeast corner of the fairgrounds, you'll find this construction worker blocking access to a closed Ferris wheel. Oh, sorry. Having a traumatized flashback. Let's talk to the Rainbow Clown now. This is Indra, and he will become your new best enemy. You see, one of the other mechanics you lost access to when you left the city was the Grand Hall trainers you could battle for free XP candy. This could once again be a devastating loss, but Indra saves the day. When you battle him, he will randomly choose a color, and the team of 3 Pokemon he brings out will correspond to that color. Upon defeating him, he will give you 8 large candies and a colored shard to boot. He's your new training dummy. Get used to him and all of his annoyances. Now, what have I been skipping while skipping around this fair? Well, it's time for the swan song of the tile puzzle. Agate Circus contains 3 of them, and your skills are going to be put to the test. The first one here will introduce another new flavor of tile puzzle. Unlike the ones we've seen in previous episodes, this one places all the tiles into the center from the beginning, but scrambled by rotation and by position. Worse, you can only move tiles by swapping them with a neighbor, like Bejeweled, but you can rotate them individually. Rotation should be your first objective. If you remember my advice from earlier tile puzzles, then you should know that the top of each tile is the side with the lightest color pixels. You'll want to do this to get everything oriented, because can you tell what the fuck this is a picture of? Well, after you've moved the tiles for about 4.5 minutes, making sure you shift pieces towards the right as you solve it so you don't trample over your own work, you'll discover it is a Caracosta. This corresponds to the reward you receive, a cover fossil. Depending on the one you picked from the man at the museum, this could be the last fossil you need, except for Old Amber. Of course, unfortunately, you can't revive fossils in this part of the game either. What if you picked Tortuga already? Well, that's what tile puzzle number 2 is for. This one functions identically to the cover fossil puzzle, with an equally mystifying design of an Archaeops. Solve this one to receive a plume fossil. But now, we come to the last tile puzzle, which happens to be the most infamous one. The attendant tells you that your prize for solving the puzzle will be the mascot of the circus, Timber. All you have to do is unscramble this image of a conkeldurr. If you don't know what's going on, then this conkeldurr is likely to be the object of your pure rage. This tile puzzle doesn't function like the other two, or any of the others. Instead, all the pieces are in the correct positions already. All you have to do is rotate them to be right side up. The rub is that when you rotate one piece, every tile around it will rotate too, meaning that you're spinning between 3 and 5 tiles per move. I don't have a great strategy for you, but for the most part, try to work in a circle from the top left corner. As soon as you have tiles in the correct orientation, try to leave them alone. However, as you do so, you might come to find that you are always a couple tiles away from success. So you go on, and on, and on. It's time you know the secret. The game randomly scrambles this puzzle into a state that will cause the puzzle to either be easy or ungodly complex. I started writing that this puzzle actually was impossible from certain starting positions, but I researched and found out that it can be solved no matter what. It's just that unless you go online to find a guide for how to solve the different deadlocks you get into, you're better off actually starting the tile puzzle over again. There's a forum post on Reborn's website where the user Fair Family goes over how to solve the deadlocked positions. As for me, I restarted the puzzle twice, and the solution just came together on the third try in like 15 seconds. In the end, this puzzle got its reputation for a reason. But if you think that's the worst that Reborn's puzzles have to offer, then just wait. You will eventually walk away with your timber. Now it's time to meet the owner of the circus. Step right up to the ringmaster on the amphitheater stage, who is addressing the crowd about what they just saw. 2 people flung through the sky above, one of whom fell into the circus tent to our right. Apparently she survived, though Hardy, he's probably okay. This is when the ringmaster introduces herself as Anastasia. She goes on to reiterate how Agate City is closed, which has tanked attendance at the circus. She remains upbeat though, almost stubbornly so, as she tells us 2 things. First, go to the cotton candy stand for a free cotton candy. Don't get that excited. You're going to be giving it away in a bit. Second, she says that Samson carried the girl into their staff room inside the tent, and you'll need to find him standing by the high striker to get inside. This leads us to the unique character standing by the test of strength, Samson. Your first impression of Samson will be him sending the bell atop the carnival game to the moon with a power of over 9,000! The strongman gives us his name we already knew. Then here's how we're looking for that girl that crashed into the large tent. He tells us to meet him in front and he'll let us in. Before we follow him there though, let's take a look at this last carnival game, the High Striker. This is the only game at the circus that takes real money instead of shards, $3.50 a try. This game ranks your strength upon hitting the pedal. If you rank as weak or okay, then you lose. If you get nice, then you'll get your money back. If you happen to get powerful on your first try, like me, then you win a Clefairy-shaped Pokédoll. Scratch that, you win a Clefairy-shaped Clefairy. Nice! From then on, if you hit powerful again, you'll get a Pokédoll. You may remember that a child wanted one of those. Win one of the actual non-living dolls and bring it to them to receive a gift from the father, which is not something I want to talk about right now. Finally, if you manage to mimic Samson and knock the bell into the stratosphere, then you will receive the TM for Swagger. Sick! But that prize might seem very annoying to get. Even though you can roll back the fabric of space-time to get your money back, it could take a very long time. What you could do instead is get a Pokemon with one of these abilities and put it in front of your party for an automatic
over 9,000!
Why those abilities? That's all to the High Striker, in the context of this minigame. By the way, you'll need to win one more Pokédoll for something in a little while. Head to the back of the line for the main event and talk to Samson, who will part the NPC for you. As soon as you step through the threshold, you'll quickly meet another person you know is important. This blue-haired woman introduces herself as Ciel, an aerial ballet artist. She is relieved when Samson tells her we're here for Aya, and the two walk off towards the staff room on the right. You can head into the stands for some chatter from the fans, who explain the strange panels and the poles in the tent. There's even a clown who snuck in here to watch the a level 85 unknown! Sucker punch, sucker punch, sucker punch. Let me tell you what you saw, not this. Now, go into the room on the right side of the tent and away from this evil stage. You'll find a huge computer setup, a healing station, and 2 entertainers next to a still sleeping Aya. God, she got home run through the sky and into the middle of this circus tent, and she's still sleeping? What kind of power? No! We're not even thinking about that! Just then, Anastasia enters with a cane in tow. After a bit of persistence, Kane finally awakens Aya. The two exchange a pretty muted greeting, as Aya asks where Hardy is. Aya explains the reason she and Hardy were up in Agate at all was that he wanted to show her his gym. Is that what he's calling it? But as soon as they got there, she says she can't remember anything else. The situation of Agate City is brought up again, how everyone in the city falls asleep, to which Anastasia says some information has come in. She doesn't want to trouble us with that, lady, trouble is all I got coming to this region, as Kane mentions that we only got out of there because of Terra. The Ringmaster sidesteps the destruction and mental damage that Terra brings since the circus couldn't bear to lose one of its gym leaders. Yeah, Terra, a gym leader, along with Samson and Ciel, the last of whom introduces themselves as the Agate Ace Triumvirate. I've already said what type Samson represents, and if you know French, then you know that Ciel means sky, as the woman by that name confirms herself as the flying gym leader. Terra, meanwhile, is the ground type leader. Aya asks again about Hardy, you know, the rock type gym leader who's going out with the former poison gym leader's current poison gym leader's sister. Practically the only people you know are gym leaders. Anyway, Anastasia says that the likely place Hardy fell was on Route 2. But even though Aya wants to go find him, the Agate Circus performers stop her from going in her condition. So once again, who's going to have to go and solve a naturally forming puzzle section? You're watching his series. Kane wants to stay behind to talk with Aya, though she's frigid to the idea. Upon hearing that it's me that's going, Anastasia decides she should lay the trouble on us after all. See what I tell you. Well, surprise, surprise, but Agate City's sleep problem is being caused by Team Meteor. The Ringmaster says she got this information from someone on the inside. That's a trap. Samson thinks so too, but Anastasia assures us that she was assured by the flowery-speaking voice on the phone. Uh-huh. She goes to report that the caller said the perp is not too far from here, and goes by the name T, or Titowin. That's a weird-sounding name, but it's still a space-related one. Anastasia goes on that another gym leader lives close by as well. Geez, another one? And yes, we do know who it is. It's Amaria. The Ringmaster suggests we meet up with her on Route 2 and gives us an item, a powder vial. I'll explain how to use that item once we get out there. You can talk further with the characters here to learn a few more bits of information, like how the person working on trying to figure out the issue with Agate is actually Terra. Samson explains that Terra, apparently, is pretty good with computers. That would explain the gamer setup over there. According to Terra, a signal is broadcasting over Agate City, and Ciel says Terra should hopefully come up with a source for it soon. Listening to Kane speak to Aya reveals that, as could be surmised, he had to leave his home and his job as gym leader because of his relationship with his mom. Aya lets him know pretty strongly that her own life is not better for his absence. She says that their mom denies Kane's existence now, and that Tez has gotten worse. However, she softens up slightly by saying that, had Aya not taken the gym leader position, she wouldn't have met Hardy. Then you can talk to Samson again, who then asks if we know how the Reborn badge system works. There's a badge system? All I know is I beat the person who won't stop standing in front of me and then I get a badge sometimes. The ranking for the leaders is set, but the rules say you could fight any of the leaders if you are within 4 ranks of the lowest badge still needed. He then shit-talks us, thinking we only have 3 badges. But since we have 9, we find out that Samson is the next lowest badge we can obtain. By the way, the system I just described, cool as it may sound, is completely irrelevant and won't be mentioned ever again. You will fight the gym leaders the way the game makes you. Speaking of fighting the gym leaders, we can't fight these gym leaders yet, says Anastasia. Not until we have one of their special battle passes. She says that she did this to prevent everyone from everywhere taking up their circus stage with gym fights. Where can we get one of those passes? I'm sure we'll plot device our way into one sometime. She adds one more thing. When we do find the battle pass, we may be required to battle a secret opponent first. Well, you can tell that secret opponent that if I have to battle them on some kind of new field effect having to do with circuses, that I'm going to wring their neck. You'll tell them for me, won't you, Anastasia? Let's leave the circus and get out onto the open road. On our way out the southwest exit though, while talking to every NPC, you'll find this one. This child says rather verbosely that they lost their parents when Agate City closed, and says their sadness would go away if we brought them cotton candy. I told you wouldn't have that free one long. But that's not all. The miserable orphan, whose tail grows taller by the sentence, now wants a balloon. Spend the 400 for that, and listen to one more existential horror coming out of the smiling child's face. The boy, who for some reason has angered a god who has deleted their whole family now, I guess, now wants a polka doll to stave off the loneliness. Go hit the high striker for a while longer and bring it to him. By the way, you may notice Samson here. It's not actually him, but he teaches you some more tutor moves, mostly the elemental punches. With the doll in hand, the next object the boy wishes for to fill the hole in their heart is ice cream. And then his mother walks in. She quickly learns that the boy has gotten into his extortion again. Again? Maybe the parenting needs to be examined a little bit here. She wishes to make it up to us and gives us a new department store sticker. This is the saddest day. Anyway, it's time for a new earworm. Welcome to Route 2, and please welcome Glitchx City's remix of Viridian Forest from Heart Gold and Soul Silver. This theme really hits home the feeling of being in the open air of nature, free from the choking city and more far and wide than the adventuring woods. This track will be staying with you for a good while. The reason for that right now is this new puzzle. Route 2 remasters the jumping tiles mechanic from the Obsidia slums, because rocks just form like this. However, you can't just jump to the end of the puzzle that easily. You receive the powder vial, which these rangers inside the guard shack explain. You can hold one of 2 types of powder, sleep or rage. If you come across Pokemon out there, you can use those powders to, obviously, put them to sleep or make them mad to battle you. Which Pokemon will you use these powders on? Jump to the left of this first set of platforms first. Then you land on this rock with a narrower stem. Why is this here? Well, if you have any powder in your vial when you land on one of these, you'll lose it. Keep that in mind, though it's not as important as it sounds. It's mostly there to prevent you from breaking parts of the puzzle. The first jumps are all linear, and as you head north, you'll see this green tree. That tree drips sleep powder. Grab some. Climb up this stair-shaped rock to jump to this ledge, then walk left to this link stone. Now get back on the rocks and head northwest. Avoid that narrow rock, which is a simple matter. You come upon this cave in the mountain. Before you approach it, jump up here for an ability capsule. Now you can peer into one of the holes, like this one. Oh, hello, Crustle. This will be your interactive Pokemon today. Give it the sleep powder to put it straight to sleep. At this point, the Crustle will become movable. This first one I put to sleep is probably the most complex to figure out, and may necessitate that you use your Rage Powder on it. If you were to push the Crustle into a corner, then it won't be possible to move it anymore. If that's the case, you'll either need to leave the entire area and come back, or use Rage Powder to wake it up and battle it. Once it goes away, you can get another Crustle out. What you want to do with this one here is to push it to the left a couple tiles, but not up. You need to slide it down that groove nearby. In order to approach it from above now, go up the stairs, then jump down the ledges and head all the way around again. Push it down so he's now just right of the stairs, then go up the left stairs to jump across the gaps above and be on its left. Now you can push it down the slide and go meet it by jumping down the ledge and landing on the right side. What is the goal for pushing these Crustle? These holes. You must push the Crustle into a hole so they cannot move anymore and form new pillars to jump on. God, that's cruel. But whatever, they're just sleeping. You can wake them up again with Rage Powder and they'll be free. So yeah, you just need to avoid pushing them into places where you can't push them anymore. If you've ever played Chip's Challenge, great classic computer game, then you've literally done this exact same thing before. With this first Crustle nestled in the Crustle-shaped hole to the north, walk to the right to climb the stairs, battle this hiker, then jump on the newly created platform to reach the TM for Skydrop. You'll see that you'll need another Crustle to help us reach that cave. For now, go back and get more sleep powder, then go to this cave to coax out another Crustle. Make him sleepy and push him around, eventually into this rut on the right. With more sleep powder stored in your vial, come over here and invite Crustle out. Apparently humans using sleep powder has 100% accuracy. Nudge him up the narrow chasm to this hole, which will allow us to reach that cave now. Right in front of the mouth of the cave is an ether. The sign nearby says that this will lead into Ametrine Mountain. Step forward and take in, as this nearby hiker puts it, the largest mountain of the trio. However, from this side with no swimming ability, there's nothing to do. So let's get back to bullying Crustles. After beating a wayward clown, head down some stairs, weave around the blocks from below, then walk up these stairs to be south of this gate. Heading south on the right side of the big pile of rock pillars is a revive. Then over here on the north end is a hidden Ultra Ball. I wanted to call this one out to make a mention that I will stop bringing up Ultra Balls now that you can buy them. Jump onto the pillars around this area now. Make your way to this T-shape with a visible item, which is an XL candy. Up on the terrace to the west is another clown, who battles you with a level 85 Goomy. What the hell are you clowns all doing with these level 85 Pokemon? Why are you able to control them? From the left side of the rock pit, you can jump across the stones to reach this one engraved with steps to reach the floor. This will let you knock on the door of this Crustle's house, demonstrate your remarkable sleep aid to him, and then shove him into a new house. This Crustle's new sleeping spot lets us cross to the lower ridge, letting us spot a field effect readout from above. Let's go get it. Return to the upper tier of pillars where we just pushed around the last Crustle, and go down to the sandy floor. Find some more rocks sitting close enough to this ledge and jump south to reach the readout by the tree. That readout is Rocky Field. Man, remember when we first saw Rocky Field? That was 9 episodes ago, and we saw it again on Apophil before finally getting the readout here. We're closing in on the conclusion of our Crustle shoving safari. Just a couple more stops. Head first south as far as you can walk from the Goomy Clown, and platform over to the right side with this Crustle den. Give him a fun slide ride to his south to his final destination. Grab some more sleepy juice and walk to this Crustle cave. You'll need to relocate him south to another divot in the wall, where he'll plop and wait for additional pushing. Get back on top of the ridge and head to the east side to jump across this crustle, then this one. Our current crustle friend is here, and we push him down another slide, then left into his new home. Unfortunately, I missed one more up above. Parkour on these rocks here to arrive on one more plateau. While you're here, pick up this firestone. One last crustle idles in his house, waiting for a chance for glory. We'll give it to him. Show him the way. Down this groove to the left of his front door first, then down the final drop-off into his destiny. Now we can traverse the entire area again, so that the noble crustle can allow us to walk upon his back to reach the next stage in our adventure. Thank you, Crustle. You are the true heroes of this story. Okay, we're done with the Route 2 puzzle, and immediately past it is a rock climb wall, with a TM that was teasing us during Crussle's challenge. You'll also notice a very tiny rock climb wall near the last Crustle. You might have also spotted something weird near him. A cave. Can you reach that cave? Only if you remove the Crustle. Oh, so we could bring Rage Powder to him there and he'd get out of the way. Yes, except for one problem. This narrow pillar. It is there for a dual purpose. First, to frustrate your efforts, but more importantly, to prevent a soft lock, because without Rock Climb, if you killed the Crustle from down here, you'd have no way to return to Agate Circus. But interestingly, we won't have to wait until episode 18 to use Rock Climb to see what's in there. Next episode. Walking west now brings us to the Celestinine Cascade, the gorgeous waterfall that pours into Reborn City and is promptly polluted. The way west requires surf, but there are a great many stairs up this way, along with this revive. At the top, you'll find this cottage with a sign out front, Amy and Tanya's house. I guess let's go into the house. Come on. Come on, it's fine, we're not that far yet. Not yet. Stepping into Fiore Mansion, we'll meet up once again with our favorite partner in anti-crime, Amaria, still recovering from that Tyranitar from episode 6. She's very happy to see us, and excited that we can meet Tanya now, but we turn the conversation to Agate first. She says she wanted to dig into it, but her injury keeps her from leaving the house. She's still interested in hearing about what we know, and we tell her about the agent named Titowin. She thinks that she didn't find out any information about them from before, but then notices that the names Titowin and Titania are awfully close in sound and appearance. At the mention of the second name, though, another voice asks what we are talking about. In walks the person we've heard about many times before now, the owner of that second name, Titania. The person we saw conversing with a meteor grunt and adventurine. Titania inquires if we were talking about her, but Amaria fibs that it was about how well Titania has been taking care of her. Meanwhile, Titania mentions that we aren't the first surprise guest. Titania managed to find Hardy when she was out, her little brother still asleep even after the ground gym leader's malleting. Amaria wants to show us upstairs where he is, but Titania denies her this, saying she needs her rest. Instead, Titania beckons us upstairs. When we get up there, we find Hardy still yet asleep on the couch. Then we find out Titania also fibbed, telling Amaria to stay put to recover. It was actually to darkly warn us to shut up forever about us seeing her at Route 1. Okay, now this is more like you. Titania is deadly serious towards us keeping Amaria out of our struggles with Meteor, saying that Amaria already deals with depression and self-harm. She says we will leave her out of it. As for Hardy, turns out she has a Rage Powder substitute for him. Hardy jumps awake from the vicious slaps, understanding immediately when he sees it's from Titania. After realizing he's been passed out for hours, his mind immediately jumps to Aya. He proceeds to get up to look for her, and it's quickly apparent that there is pretty much no love between these two siblings. Titania is also not too fond of us either. Well, just hold on, let me just walk out on your balcony for this water surface readout. Head back downstairs, where our attention is drawn to the TV, as we hear news from Gossip Gardevoir, who for once is reporting on something we didn't participate in. She is apparently up in Calcenon City with Saphira, and delivers shocking news. Labradora City, which sits directly beside Chalcedon, has been completely taken over by Team Meteor, and they have taken hostages. Saphira tells the journalist that she won't comply with any of their demands, and will find a way around a massive barrier that is encasing the city. Gardevoir goes on to explain how her sources tell her this barrier is being created through a pulse. The Pokemon in that pulse is a... Mr. Mime. The situation is even more bleak than that. Saphira claims that Meteor is setting up another pulse in Labradora, and still 2 more exist in the surrounding areas. Holy shit, 4 more pulses? Amaria knows what suffering that's going to bring, as Hardy suggests we go help them. Titania flat out tells him no. He bristles at this, saying Meteor can't be allowed to do all they please, but Titania is unbending, saying not to get involved. Hardy decides it's not worth arguing with his sister, and leaves to find Aya. Amaria, meanwhile, feels more strongly than that, but Titania repeats her stance to her too, albeit a little more softly. Amaria brings up the sapphire bracelets, vowing never to lose them, but wondering what they're for. Hey, I know that now. Amaria then asks Titania how she found them, who tells that she found them in the Chrysolia region years ago, near a hidden lake. Buried in ash. Oh. Amaria tells Titania that I should still try to help the effort in Chalcedon, since I've fought Meteor so much already. Titania basically doesn't care about us as long as we leave, as Amaria says that in order for us to get to Chalcedon, we'll need Surf to pass through Ametrine Mountain. Which they have! Yes! But we need Samson's badge. No. But they have a pass for his gym fight. Yes! Titania gives it to me and says I can have Surf from them if I win against Samson. Yeah, Samson. Oh, fuck. So you may have realized that so far into this video, I didn't talk about the news for the episode. Well, the story we just watched in Chalcedon is the same one you can see for yourself on any TV. Let's go over the other 2 shows before we head back to the circus. Gardevoir's next show has her interviewing the biggest, baddest trainer around. If by biggest and baddest you mean a small girl who insists her doll is a Jirachi, it's Anna. But though Gardevoir was joking about her size, she states how Anna's rank is real. When Gardevoir asks how she was able to attain her rank, she says that it is due to Shade's recommendation and Nostra's ability to beat all of her opponents. Are those context clues coming together yet? And as for Arclight's spotlight, well, that's already been given away. The next gym leader battle is against the strongman Samson, a fighting type user who is the polar opposite of Kiki. With Samson, it is all brawn and bullshit. Complete fucking bullshit! Arclight says that Samson was pressured into becoming a gym leader by someone else. Unexpectedly, that's Terra. There's no more information than that. The last thing the DJ tells us is of Samson's ace, Conkeldurr. That thing. First it mocks me with its rigged carnival game, then it'll massacre me in the battle. Steel yourself. It only gets worse. It's time to head back to the circus. Return across the rock pillars and crustles, you monster. Back at the fairgrounds, do not, under any circumstances, walk inside the main tent without preparing your best team and saving. Once you think you're ready, you're not. You'll go into the tent anyway, and you'll come face to face with Anastasia. She knows you have a battle pass for Samson, and reveals herself to be the secret opponent you must qualify against first. She then engages us in battle in the...
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the combatants for this extravaganza. Oildrum versus the Big Top.
Here it is. A killing field that knows no mercy. One that I have dreaded since the moment I started this 4th playthrough. Every second you have to exist on this field is pain. If you could use Splintered Storm Shards, then my #1 strategy would be to use it and say begone to this horrible field. But I have no choice. Here's how I will suffer in the Big Top. Sound-based moves increase in power by 50%. That may seem like a small number of moves, but trust me, Boom Burst being 210 power on this field is fucked, and there's enough here to get upset over. The Dancer ability will also raise special attack and speed by 1 stage when activated. Speaking of dance moves, they increase in power by 50%, and so do all of these moves. You see acrobatics there? Remember how its secondary effect doubles its power when the user isn't holding anything? Yeah, it skips that check, so it's always on. Now it's actually 110 base power plus another 50% for the field, so 165 power. Dragon Dance will raise attack and speed by 2 stages. Feather Dance lowers attack by 3 stages. Quiver Dance raises special attack, special defense, and speed by 2 stages. What? Swords Dance raises attack by 3 stages. Rain Dance lasts for 8 turns. Payday gets double power and scatters 100 times more coins than normal. Belly Drum will also raise both defenses by 1 stage when used. Spotlight also raises both attacks of both the target and user by 1 stage. Sing becomes 100% accurate. Encore lasts 6 turns. Nature Power becomes Acrobatics. Camo is normal. Secret Power may lower special defense by 1 stage. Now here's another teeth kick. Using a synthetic seed raises attack by 1 stage and applies Helping Hand to the user. So that means the next attack is 50% more powerful. That is a mammoth of an issue. But, oh god. As if all of this wasn't bad enough, we haven't even talked about striker moves. Striker moves consist of all physical fighting moves as well as all these. When you use a striker move, a damage modifier is applied to the attack depending on a variety of factors, one of them being pure enraging randomness. Those modifiers are weak for 50% less damage, okay for no change, nice for 50% more damage, powerful for double damage, and
Over 9,000!
for triple damage. However, what's even worse about this is that it isn't all random. If you have modified attack stages, the odds of you landing higher or lower strength modifiers change, with more attack meaning greater chance at higher modifiers. For instance, out of a possible 14 with no stat changes, you will hit normal damage or worse 8 times. If you raise attack by 3 stages, you cannot do less damage, and 5 out of 14 times you'll hit double or better. And of course, if you lose attack stages, then you might as well forget about doing full damage. But guess what? This gets even worse if you are facing opponents with these abilities. Then the odds look like this. See the problem? Yeah, you will fight opponents with these abilities, who start out being able to do only double or triple damage. Keep in mind, they may also pop a synthetic seed, so they get 50% on top of that. This is where the game's difficulty skyrockets, because let me make it painfully clear. The circus gym leaders will use this field, and you will be destroyed. They are some of the worst fights in the game. The flip side of this field being immensely punishing and grinding you down is that you don't forget it. You may not remember much about fields like Misty Terrain or Crystal Cave, but the killing fields will etch themselves into your memory, and not just with suffering. The application of real-world circus attractions, like the trapeze bars on the ceiling and the strength test panels on the floor as mechanics to be used in a Pokemon battle, are so ingenious and memorable. The battles feel more alive, like they're right out of an anime, achieving the true intention that Ame had for them. So yeah, it isn't all suffering. It's still like 80% suffering though. This field builds 3 archetypes that totally demolish you. The strong man, the high flyer, and the noisemaker. They lean into this field so incredibly hard. As for you, you'll be hard pressed to make use of any of the benefits of this stage unless you go out of your way. In fact, you'll probably find yourself hampered trying to use striker moves only to randomly fail and lose a Pokemon because you are weak. Depth 8. Difficulty
A perfect 10.
Now you're going to learn why Big Top is horrible from Alistasia right here. Yes, a trainer with 5 Pokemon, not 6, is going to school you. Geronimo. First up is Pyroar, to my Hariyama. Hariyama's been beefed up with more HP than before, and Pyroar's frankly random normal typing is a big target for Hariyama. After the usual fake out, I go for close combat. Hariyama has guts, so he gets to make use of this Hellscape Striker bonus, but not before Pyroar does a hyper voice which also makes use of it. This deafens the shit out of Hariyama, but he barely lives to close combat for a kill. I thought he would die to the burn, but he barely lives. Now Anastasia is going to send in something aggravating. A Lux Ray, when I have no ground types. Well, Hariyama will be useless for anything but one more fake out, so it's time to switch. But into what? The less time I spend in the big top, the better. So I decide to cheese this with Houndoom. Houndoom does outspeed to start Destiny Bond, and Luxray pays me with a fatal superpower, thus exiting stage right. The double knockout gives Anastasia the benefit to choose second. Hariyama's going to be a good sacrifice with an extra fake out. Fuck! You know how horrible Kane's Primarina is? It's 10 times worse now, because Sparkling Aria is buffed! And this one has leftovers! After Hariyama succumbs to his burn after a fake out that was mostly invalidated, I have one single answer: Jump Pluff. However, even though he is faster and now knows a grass-type damaging move, Giga Drain, that won't be enough to kill Primarina. I go for the Sleep Powder. It missed. And Primarina knows Ice Beam. The fight is now in a death spiral. Meowstic comes out and puts up a light screen, which then allows her to survive the Mammoth Sparkling Aria damage. However, a single Psychic is far from killing, and Primarina serenades me to death. Even with light screen up, I have little confidence in Mawile surviving with her low HP, but she manages to and breaks the Dream Seal's long snout with Iron Head. You think the worst is over? No. Next is a Donphan. That's horrible. It is fucking guaranteed to have Sturdy. No matter what, Mawile's only chance to attack first is Sucker Punch, unless it has Ice Shard. At every turn, this fight shits on you. I switch to Heracross, and I know better than to give it a free look with close combat. Somehow, I'm faster and hit it with Mega Horn, which brings it down below half. However, an Earthquake comes back and does better damage. Then my Toxic Orb activates. I go for Mega Horn again, but just before, it Ice Shards again to bring me right to certain death. I kill the Donphan with the subsequent Horn, but my own poison takes me before I see Anastasia's final performer. I need more to deal with Primarina. I brought Mawile because she has Sheer Force, but she has no moves that hit the High Striker and is otherwise not able to hit weaknesses. Vanillux would be better for a lot of reasons, both breaking Donphan's Sturdy and drying out the Primarina. Alright, let's do this again. Same lead as before, I attempt the same moves and kill the Pyroar, but this time, Hariyama does not survive the burn damage. This puts me on the run. I decide to go to Jumpluff, who I'm certain can go faster than everything and has his buffed acrobatics plus a sharp beak. But when I'm faced with the Donphan, I know I can't kill with either move because, you know, fucking Sturdy. So I know I must use Sleep Powder. No, turns out I'll just die to a fucking crit Ice Shard. I hate this fight! It has to be Vanillux now, who will take the damn elephant down in one round thanks to Hail. But even though Blizzard easily takes it to 1, Earthquake kills Vanillux! Donphan tips over, and once again I have to play blind into Anastasia's choice. When I send out Meowstic, Primarina takes center stage again. This is so far gone because both of the Pokemon I needed for her are down. I don't bother putting up Light Screen because I'm just going to use Houndoom for it and hope I can kill the Luxray another way. Houndoom comes out and bites it from the Aria, dragging the Primarina to hell with me. I'm down to my last Pokemon, Heracross, and for the third time, Anastasia gets to pick after I choose, not like it matters now. Oh, it does matter now. Her final Pokemon is Blaziken. Holy shit, it's just over. Especially with that acrobatics. Hariyama, level 70. He is not dying to his own burn again. Pyroar, close combat, Hariyama alive. Next out, Luxray, Houndoom, double KO. Primarina, Hariyama sacrifices. Now, I'm skeptical that Vanillux can kill it from nearly full HP, so I give him some backup by using Meowstic first. Light Screen, then Psychic, which drops a special defense stage. After 2 lethal Arias, Vanillux comes out and does what I need. even outspeeding the Primarina and killing it with a single freeze dry. Naturally, Anastasia would rather send a fighting fire type into my ice type. Fortunately, I have the means to kill it this time. Jumpluff's acrobatics is more than enough. Unless it fucking has a focus sash! The only saving grace is that Hail kills the Blaziken first, but Anastasia gets to make it 2-on-1 instead of 3-on-1. Of course, Donphan is her closer, and I send Vanillux out first, but I notice it popped that seed to get Helping Hand. I'm really not sure Vanillux can go first here, so I pivot immediately to Heracross, who eats the Earthquake from Donphan. She dies to it, but the Helping Hand is used up. Hail has broken the elephant's sturdy, and Vanillux is ready to end this. Donphan slaps me in the face once more with an Ice Shard, as I bury it with Blizzard. I despise this fight. Anastasia has 5 Pokemon, and I will die on the following hill. She is worse than the gym leaders who use this field, bar none. That isn't to say that Samson is going to be easy for me. Fuck the hell no. Samson, so soon after Radimus, makes Reborn begin to feel insufferable. Anastasia gets to salt the wound further with this fight, and even through all of my improving in the game, this fight still makes me into a clown. It clowned me a lot worse in my previous file too. I swear I was here for 10 or 15 attempts with this team. Camerupt could handle Luxray. My Luxray could take Primarina. Blastoise could deal with Pyroar. Vanillux would take out Donphan, and whatever was left would hopefully kill the Blaziken. But for as simple as that sounds, on Big Top, it is anything but. Big Top mutilates you. It is the worst field. No, I can't say that. There's still something worse. After that heinous experience, you can return to the staff room to advance the story. Oh great, Terra's here. As if today could get any worse. Ciel asks the clown girl if she's figured out anything about the signal over Agate City, but Terra says no. She says a lot of other inane shit too, but I'll let Samson's quote here sum up every player's experience with reading Terra dialogue. Over on the right, you'll find that Hardy has met up with Aya again. Aya wonders what we should do now that Agate is closed, as Hardy brings up the idea of heading to Calcinon. Despite how much it may burn your eyes, it would be worth talking to everyone in the room besides Samson to get relationship points. Yes, including Terra, who walks on her head. How would you even exist in the real world? When your brain can't take any more, talk to Samson. His gym fight is sure to put you out of your misery. Of course, you'll want to be extremely prepared. Grind Pokemon old and new, fight Indra outside for candies to speed it up, and use the Power EV items to max EVs in no time against the Route 2 wild Pokemon. Wild Pokemon like this shiny Rhydon! I like that! When your Pokemon are ready and you are prepared to die, then get ready to go out on stage. Talking to Samson, he will repeat the rule about needing a battle pass before noticing it in our hands. With that, he has no other qualms. We head out to the Big Top. Under blazing lights and the eyes of a sold-out crowd, it's time to take on the first of the Agate Ace Triumvirate. Let's go behind the scenes for a closer look at my performers tonight. First, returning to battle another fighting leader is Emolga. It should come as no surprise. If there's ever going to be one time that a field effect is going to harm my opponent more than me, it will be against Samson, and that is because of one single move, Acrobatics. Like with Kiki, this move will be nonsense on Big Top. It will be constantly on and 50% stronger, giving it 165 attack at all times. Even though I expect every single Pokemon on Samson's team will have rock moves, Emolga of course is resistant to fighting, and should be faster than everything he has. Where Emolga goes, Jumpluff follows. The same story here as with Emolga. Acrobatics is going to shred, but even beyond Emolga, Jumpluff is holding a Sky Plate, so add 20% more power to that. Then of course we can try putting things to sleep, though it's too bad Jumpluff doesn't know Sing, as it would be 100% accurate here. After the 2 flyers, I have my single neutral pick, Houndoom. I'm addicted to Destiny Bond, but maybe he'll get the chance to blast something down with Flamethrower and his immense speed. But let's be honest, This dark type is nothing but a giant target to lure Samson into a trap. Next out is Meowstic. Of course, how couldn't I? She's been a staple in nearly every gym fight so far to this point, and against the fighting leader, she's a no-brainer. Of course, she's only really here to lob Psychic around, and I wish I had the Reflect TM right about now, as Light Screen is surely going to be useless here. Now, here are 2 new appearances to my gym roster. First, speaking of Psychic, is one I already mentioned 2 episodes ago. Sigilif. Flying and Psychic? Yes please. Sigilif is quite fast, and is ready to blast away with more Psychic or Air Slash if necessary. Again, I can feel the rock moves coming, but Sigilif is hopefully fast enough to go first most of the time. But finally is something I don't have to guess on if it will go first, because as long as it has full HP, it will. Talonflame. This is an example of why you should catch everything you possibly can before leaving Reborn City, because Fletchling is obtainable in the Barrel Cemetery, and boy is that nice to have now. Talonflame was another of my late game arrivals, mostly because I didn't know the pure insanity of Gale Wings. At full HP, Talonflame's flying moves will have priority. On top of that, he learns fucking acrobatics too. He's holding a sharp beak to also boost that attack up, and my god, this could be a sweep waiting to happen. In the future, when acrobatics becomes less valuable, then it will move into Brave Bird for the one big huge fucking hit. Talonflame is the epitome of glass cannon, but at the circus, the cannon is heavily favored. That's the troop to fight the fighting leader. Now I know way fucking better than to be confident about this fight. Samson's fight is maniacal. The fighting leaders in this game got huge love, because both of them utterly stomp you. If I don't outspeed Samson's team, they will kill in one hit. Get prepared for
Over 9,000!
You're going to see and hear it many, many times. Hold on to your hats. Here we go. I let Emolga receive the opening applause using a synthetic seed, which gives it a helping hand for 50% more damage. It will need it against the mattress Pokemon, Hariyama. It's not a question of whether Emolga will outspeed. It's a matter of if a boosted full power acrobatics will cut down big hands. It does. Very good start. But I knew that against something fast like Emolga, Samson would be sending out one particular Pokemon, Hawlucha. Hawlucha has spectacular speed, more than Emolga or Jumpluff, and I know how much damage this thing did to me in the past. But there's one thing it can't be faster than: Gale Wings. Talonflame tags in, and sure enough, he goes first with acrobatics and the Luchador is no match for him. At this, Samson is already sending out his Conkeldurr, the ace of beef. This will be the thickest Pokemon on his team, but Talonflame's outrageous power and priority may have locked down this fight. Conkeldurr clomps in, giving you a glimpse of something to fear for the future. Samson's ace goes beyond your level cap, being level 71. But can the out-leveled Firebird outmuscle the steel-swinging Pokemon? The answer is yes. Wait, that's it, isn't it? Samson sends out Mienshao. It can't survive. Samson sends out Blaziken, which protects on the first turn to get a speed boost. That still doesn't matter. Talonflame is still at full health. Samson is down to his last Pokemon. What's funny is, though he was holding this one off because I have a favorable type to it, a Lucario is actually not something I could kill in one hit with Talonflame. The only common Pokemon between this game's 2 fighting type bosses, Lucario gives my one neutral teammate a perfect opportunity, without even having to use Destiny Bond. I send in Houndoom, who unleashes a flamethrower after outspeeding. But I was right about one thing. Talonflame couldn't have killed the Lucario in one hit, because nothing could. Focus Sash. Lucario swings back and Samson does knock out one of my Pokemon, but... Well, that was anticlimactic to say the least. Feels kind of bad. This made Samson look pathetic, but that is so far from the truth, it's criminal to leave it like this. So I decided, what if I did the opposite of what I did after I won Kiki's fight? What if we did this again, but I didn't use Talonflame? Instead of Talonflame, I'll use Mawile. She's got Play Rough to hit weakness on most of Samson's team, but she's neutral to fighting, and Blaziken is obviously perfect against her. Extra innings begin now. The first turn of the fight has no reason to be different. Just get Hariyama out of the way while I can. However, that Hawlucha is every bit a menace as I suggested, because Emolga is my fastest Pokemon and Hawlucha comes out and outspeeds. Also, Samson knows how powerful the goddamn move is, because his Hawlucha uses acrobatics too. Even resisting it doesn't matter. Emolga is knocked out, but Emolga leaves it a paralysis parting gift. I think to myself, this must give Jumpluff the chance to easily kill it now. Huh, no. If it weren't for the paralysis turn removal, then Jumpluff would have been eviscerated, but my Pokemon gets to clip the fighter's wings. But remember that Mienshao that showed up and immediately died? I put Meowstic in front of it now. It outspeeds Meowstic and kills it with acrobatics, and then it outspeeds, and one-shots, my entire team. By itself. Every one of my Pokemon wiped out by a single one of Samson's team, which had no stat changes. I actually considered whether or not I should just stop here and say, there, told you. Because I sat there thinking, what the fuck can I even change here that isn't just putting Talonflame back in? I threw away an attempt in here that tested if Emolga could survive the first attack from Hariyama in order to use agility, but Smackdown said nope. I thought to myself, Mienshao's too fast, it's too strong. Wait, strong? Attack? Mawile! Her ability is Sheer Force, but I can change it to Intimidate. So I do so, then start attempt technically 4. After Hariyama, Hawlucha flying kicks my Emolga in the face and doesn't get paralyzed this time. I know that even this thing is too strong, so I switch Mawile in, hoping that she can then tank either a resisted flying move or a neutral fighting move. Unfortunately, neither of those things happen. Samson switches into Blaziken. Oh holy shit. Play Rough does nice damage and takes away its seed-based attack stage, but it will still get a helping hand strike. I need Mawile to live, so I send in Meowstic to maybe survive? However, if that were possible, Samson gets mega bailed out with a critical hit, so Meowstic goes down. But this is pointless in the face of the big problem. Blaziken has speed boost. For God's sake, what do? I use Jumpluff in a futile attempt to outspeed, but that bus has already left the station, then turned around to run me over. Mawile has to bring the starter's attack down, but even after doing so and putting in Sigilif, who lives the attack, he gets biffed by an acrobatics. Mawile comes in to drop Blaziken's attack again, but she can't survive an attack from full health even when Blaziken has 50% of its attack power. Cut to the next attempt, where once again Emolga goes down without paralyzing the Hawlucha. Time to break this into a puzzle game. Remember when I said that the AI in this game will allow fights to be scripted, to where they will perform the exact same actions given the same player inputs? Well, I'm going to take advantage of that right now. Mawile comes in to reduce the Hawlucha's attack, but instead of attacking, I switch into Jumpluff, and Samson switches just like last time to Blaziken. I have to hope that Jumpluff can outspeed and kill when Blaziken is at base speed. He can, but now we've gotten back to that horrible roadblock, Mienshao. Mawile comes out to scare the shit out of it, but she flees to let Meowstic take a small brick break. However, Mienshao is not interested in fighting without full attack and U-turns. Meowstic amazingly survives, and her Psychic meant for Mienshao instead mind blanks Hawlucha. That's nice to have him gone, but Mienshao is looping back in. Mawile intimidates, but I have Meowstic sacrifice. I want Mienshao to do little to Mawile. She comes back to lower Mienshao's attack a stage further, then goes for the Play Rough. But Samson fucks this all over by switching into Conkeldurr. Play Rough does a hefty amount, but it does not kill, and neither does Sucker Punch. I don't think Mawile was faster, and she goes down to a
Over 9,000!
Jumpluff is faster and beats the Conkeldurr, but it's over. Mian Xiao will come back with full strength, and there's nothing I can do. The next attempt, I make a mistake, and inadvertently show a rule of the AI. An enemy trainer will not switch out a Pokemon on its first turn. I kill Hariyama like always, but then I switch Emolga into Mawile early. When I attempt to predict Samson's switch, he doesn't do it, and instead rips through my Jumpluff. Let's just go to the next attempt. No paralysis again, so like before, I intimidate and switch to Jumpluff, killing Blaziken. Mian Xiao comes out, Mawile glares at it for a second, then Sigilyph takes her place. She's doubly resistant to fighting, so she takes the Brick Break even better. I then go for Psychic, but Mian Xiao's acrobatics is still too strong. I have to put Mawile back in, but Samson rips the rug out again and Conkeldurr shows up as I go for Play Rough. It doesn't do as much as before, and now I know I still need Mawile, so Meowstic will have to take the Drain Punch.
Over 9,000!
Conkeldurr basically gets back all of its HP, as I then put Mawile back in fruitlessly. Conkeldurr's base attack is enough to kill her and fully regain his life, and that is more than Jumpluff can deal after outspeeding the ace. Extra attempt 7. This time, we finally get paralysis on Hawlucha again, but I know this doesn't mean a guaranteed outspeed with Jumpluff. Instead, I do the same thing as before, intimidate and switch to Jumpluff to kill Blaziken. Mian Xiao is next again. I intimidate it, then decide that since Hawlucha is paralyzed, I just go for the Play Rough now. Brick Break chops Mawile hard, but she survives and pummels the Mian Xiao to finally kill it without Talonflame for the first time. The paralyzed Hawlucha is returning, and I go into Meowstic, who I don't have a lot of hope will survive, but I need to move Mawile out to reload Intimidate. But then, Meowstic outspeeds. Hawlucha must have gotten that outspeed against Jumpluff the last time it was paralyzed with a priority move. Either way, Psychic knocks the masked Pokemon off stage. We have a chance, I think. For the first time since my victory with Talonflame, Samson finally sends out Lucario again. To this, I send Houndoom again, but we do it right this time. If you're going to kill me, you're coming with me. This leaves me with 4 Pokemon against Samson's ace, fittingly coming out last as it should be. I have Mawile scare away its seed-given attack stage, then remove her since the crowd is going to help him smush whatever in front of him. I make it Jumpluff, who has to take another
Over 9,000!
Then I stick Mawile in front of him one more time to put his attack underwater. This doesn't let her survive his attack, but hopefully Sigilyph or Meowstic can steal the show. Now that was a hell of a different looking fight, huh? It actually frustrates me how overpowered Talonflame was in that fight. And I completely understand now why Gale Wings was nerfed after Generation 6. If Gale Wings just gave flying priority forever, God, Samson's fight will most likely put you in a madhouse. Take your pick what mad means here. You would not think that the fighting type would be this blisteringly fast. But between Hawlucha and Mian Xiao, Samson will just wreck you. Then of course you add in the hellish field you're imprisoned in, and you get something that makes you quickly forget how bad Radamus's fight was. Samson was another of the gym leader fights I was very worried about doing again. Besides utterly pantsing him with Talonflame, that reputation stayed true today. As for yesterday, here's the team I used against him in my last playthrough. Hey look, it's Sigilyph and Emolga. Sigilyph was a good choice here, but Emolga, even though I used him today too, was mostly a last resort in this file. I wanted Pokemon with acrobatics, and when I got to this point, Emolga was the only one I had to my knowledge. Dusclops reached the full strength for what I wanted to use him for by this point. He's finally holding his Eviolite for Mega Bulk, and he has Trick Room, being the perfect counter to Samson's ridiculously speedy team. But don't take this to mean that this file had an easy time. I can guarantee that I spent at least double the number of attempts with this team as the Talonflameless one today. Finally, we can reap the reward of defeating the first of Agate Circus's Ace Triumvirates. By the way, make no mistake, the official result is a first try victory with Talonflame. I'm keeping that ability capsule. Anastasia announces our victory and awards us the Strike Badge. This badge is interesting for 2 reasons. First, it unlocks the use of a new HM move for the first time in quite a few badges, that move being Surf. Hell yes. But the second interesting thing is what this badge does not do. Raise our level cap. That's right, we're staying at level 70 until next badge. You could know this would happen by looking at your player's screen to see that his badge would not cover up the number 70. This is why the EXP All is great. Holding back from the level cap for Samson makes him that much harder, but getting to level 70 without the EXP All means you have to eat common candy a lot until the next badge. Get that item and keep it turned on. It makes everything so much easier. Finally, the Ringmaster gives us the TM for Brick Break. Good utility move to have for screen users, which incidentally shoots down what I said about wanting Reflect for this fight. We go backstage again to hear compliments from Anastasia, though Ciel boasts she won't be as easy. Yeah, I can't see a Talonflame acing a fight against a flying gym leader. But as Anastasia leaves, Terra bombastically announces the nature of Ciel's underwear, while also saying that the signal affecting Agate City has been pinpointed coming from Ametrine City. Samson says that it will require Surf to reach there, as Kane, Hardy, and Aya say they will make their way towards Calcinon instead. But disaster is going to strike from every angle, as the fate of many suddenly shift. For some, irreversibly.